Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're having a good day. Welcome back to Thread Manchester. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a few days, I know, but I thought I'd come back tonight, do another live show. As I said, I hope everything's well with you. I hope you're enjoying the decent weather. Let's get into it then. So obviously today's show, we're looking to do a sort of squad review show, just talk about Manchester United's squad. Where we see it, where we need to improve, sort of rating the current squad, look at some youth players as well. So yeah, that's what we're sort of going to do. So please get involved in the comments, guys. As always, we're going to talk about the whole squad. We're going to go through the whole squad, look where we need to invest for the future. So that is the plan for today's show. We've got the player in focus coming, I think, on Wednesday night as well. I did do a poll on Twitter about that, and Fred won. So we're going to cover Fred, I think, on Wednesday night. Certainly it'll be one night this week, probably on Wednesday night. We're going to cover Fred. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. We'll talk about Fred, where he might fit in under Erik ten Hag, really. So he was the clear winner on Twitter. So we're definitely going to do that this week. I'm also hoping to do another show soon about sort of Premier League predictions. We're hoping to get some guests on soon as well. When the channel grows a little bit more, I'm going to start getting some guests on the show from other clubs as well. So I want to get other teams involved. So please get involved in the comments, guys. As always, please like if you enjoyed. Please do subscribe if you're new. And let's get started then. So obviously, we've signed Eriksen, we've signed Malacia, we've signed Martinez. Eriksen and Martinez still yet to join up with the squad. We've obviously seen a little bit of Malacia in pre-season, but we're still yet to see Martinez and Eriksen. So obviously, good signings so far, quite happy with them. Let me know, guys, what do you think about the signings so far? Personally, I think decent signings, but if you look at our net spend, it's around 50 million so far, so it's still very, very low. We still need a lot more sort of expenditure going into this squad. So we're going to talk tonight about the positions we think, where do we need to invest in this squad, not just this summer, but also in the future as well. Where does this squad need investment? So please, guys, get involved in the comments. Where do you think this squad needs investment? A lot of people will probably say everywhere. I wouldn't disagree. But where in particular, if you were to name 3 positions, for example, where in particular do you think this squad needs investment? For me, I think we certainly need investment in the midfield area. I think we certainly need investments sort of at fullback as well, at right back, and I think in the forward area as well. Big up, Jose. I hope you're doing well, mate. I hope everything's going well with you. Where do you think we need to invest, mate? For me, I think we need to invest all over the pitch, personally. Strikers. Yeah, we certainly do. Obviously, Ronaldo has apparently come back to England tonight to discuss his future with Man United. So let's start with the big news, sort of Ronaldo then. So obviously, Ronaldo coming back today to discuss his future. I think a lot of us are really quite fed up with Ronaldo this summer. Look, Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the best players to ever play the game, one of the best players to ever put on a Manchester United shirt. But at the end of the day, I think he's acted very unprofessionally. He's obviously had a terrible time in terms of his family situation with losing a child. I understand all that. But if we actually look at Cristiano Ronaldo, in terms of what he did last season, he had a decent output in terms of the goals he scored. But I think this summer he's acted very unprofessionally. He's been away for a lot of the time. And we've seen reports, I think it might have been from the Athletic, actually, yesterday night, the reports came out that he will be unlikely that he'll be available against Brighton to play if he stays. So, for me, as Jose said, we need strikers, we need attacking players. We certainly do. If Ronaldo were to leave, look, ideally, we need 2 or 3 attacking players to add to this squad. This summer, we're probably only going to add 1 attacking player. If Ronaldo were to leave, we then need to add another, in my opinion. So we need to add 2 if Ronaldo leaves. You could make the argument that we need 3 or 4 players in the attacking positions, but obviously we can't do it all in one summer. This is what people need to realise. So I've always said I think 6 signings will be a good summer for Manchester United. We've obviously signed Malacia, Eriksen, Martinez. I think we probably need a right back. I think we probably need a midfield player. We probably need a forward player. Ideally, yes, we'd want another centre back. We want a goalkeeper. We'd want another midfield player, another attacker. It's just not going to happen. So I think we need 3 more players this summer at least. And if Ronaldo leaves, we will need 4 players. But I don't know whether we're going to be able to invest in all those positions. You know, it's especially with the owners we've got. I just can't see it happening. Triple XM, I hope you're doing well, mates. Our attack is a big weakness in our midfield. That's a good shout, you know. That's a good shout, actually. I don't think our midfield, I don't think anywhere on the pitch, I don't think we're particularly balanced, really. You know, if you're looking in the goalkeeping area, I don't really see it there. If you look at the defensive area, I don't see too much balance there. Hopefully Martinez can improve that. If you look in midfield area, we all know about the problems there. And in the attacking areas as well, Sancho and Rashford are our 2 wide players. If one of those gets injured, it's Elanga or Ahmad. So, you know, we are in a bit of trouble. So we're going to discuss today in terms of the positions. We've talked about Ronaldo already. What do you guys think about Ronaldo? Firstly, is sort of the way he's acted this summer. I'm quite disappointed with Ronaldo personally. What do you guys think about Ronaldo this summer? What do you think in terms of the way he's acted? I think it's been quite unprofessional. I'm a bit fed up of it, really. I'm fed up of the will he stay, will he go saga. If he wants to leave, I know that there doesn't seem to be too many clubs after him. We need to try and get rid of a player who wants to leave. I know what people are saying in terms of the depth. I'm worried about the depth, but if you've got a player, particularly like Ronaldo, who wants to leave, you are in trouble if you keep him, because he will become unsettled. Obviously, he'll want to do well for himself, but we saw last season when he got taken off at times, you know, throwing a bit of a paddy, you know, not going to clap the fans. We don't really want that, you know, you don't really want that. So let's hope we can resolve the situation. Jose says, definitely throwing a temper tantrum. He's not acting like a 38-year-old. You know he isn't, no. The thing is, Ronaldo, he's got such a big ego, which is a good thing in some instances where, you know, he can show what he's done in his career. And, you know, fantastic. You've got to have a big ego to get there. But in terms of a part of the squad, in terms of being part of a balanced team, I just don't think he cuts it, personally. Marcus says, I'm over Ronaldo, whether he stays or not, we're in trouble because he won't be here in 1 year. And exactly, that's why I think, Marcus, why don't we just cut tight? Why don't we just, you know, cut our losses as such this summer? You know, why don't we do that this summer if we can? Because then it will speed up next summer. We won't have to worry about that. We've seen links to a player like Sesko, I think his name is. I'm not sure if I pronounce it right, from Salzburg. I need to look more into him personally, but we've seen links to him as a possible replacement. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I think this is a good point. Look, I don't think Ronaldo is... It's the same with a lot of players in our squad. A player like Ronaldo is not the only problem at Manchester United. I think the way Ronaldo wants to play and the way Ronaldo sort of fits or doesn't fit into our system is a little bit of a problem. But if you just take Ronaldo out, it's not like you're going to have a world-class team. No, you're not. You might have a more balanced team in terms of, you know, out of possession. You might be able to press a little bit more coherently, you know, but he's not really, as you say, I don't think he's this sort of virus as well, with the way that Paul Pogba got branded as well. I don't think that's true as well. I just don't think he is, I just don't think he should be part of our team in the next few years. Same with David De Gea, really. Jose, if it was up to you, would you keep? I would try and, if a player wants to leave, I would always try and let them go, Jose. I know there's not many clubs that seem to be after him, but I would always try and let a player leave who wants to leave. That's what we should always do. And make sure you replace him. Look, if we've got a replacement lined up, I'm happy. If we haven't, then I am very much worried. You cannot rely on Martial on his own. You can't rely on Martial in any instance to be fit for the whole season and to be consistent. You can't rely on one striker. You can't rely on Haaland. You can't rely on Nunes. You can't rely on Timo Werner. Most of the teams in the league, Gabriel Jesus at Arsenal, you can't rely on one player to be fit, especially with the World Cup coming up. the amount of fixtures they're going to have to play in such a congested fixture list in such a short amount of time. You need options. So, look, if he wants to leave, make sure that he gets his wish, because I don't want players here who don't want to be here, but make sure you replace him. That's the most important thing. I'm not worried about Ronaldo going, that part of it, in terms of what it's going to do to Manchester United. I'm more worried about what the replacement is. If the replacement is a striker who is a good all-round gamer, young, probably a best really a young striker who Ten Hag can develop, and Ten Hag really wants, and Ten Hag he doesn't have to decide the signing, but he needs to make sure that it will work for his system. I'm happy. As long as that's okay, I'm happy. Adil, thanks for coming along, mate. Thank you to everybody, by the way, who's here right now. Please do smash a like, guys. If you are enjoying, please do get involved in the comments. We're going to talk a little bit about Ronaldo for the moment. Opinion on Benjamin Sesko. As I said, I haven't seen enough of him. We do need to sign a number 9 if Ronaldo leaves. I wanted Nkunku, and he signed a new contract. I wanted Schumacher, and he's going to West Ham. I wouldn't mind Ivan Toney, but I think he would. Obviously, you've got the English tax that might be added on there. But as I said, I am going to do a video quite soon, I believe, on attacking options. But I have to admit, I haven't seen Benjamin Sesko play before, so I do need to look into that. But I have heard good things about him from knowledgeable people, and so I will say that. But I have also seen a 55 million price tag as well quoted yesterday. So, this is what it is. This is what it is. But yeah, guys, I think starting with Ronaldo, I think that's the first sort of thing we need to think about. If Ronaldo leaves, we'll need another striker. If we move on now to another position of the pitch, which I think is important, if we look at the wide area, we are a Rashford or Sancho injury. And by the way, Sancho has only just come to Manchester United. He's only been here for a year. He's played under Oli, Carrick, Ranić, and now Ten Hag. Sancho has been here for a year, and he's played under 4 managers, which is quite incredible, really, if you think about it. You've got Rashford, whose career has really stalled. A lot of people, rightly so, were very annoyed with him and many other players for even a lack of work rate last season. There were many times where a shot went in and Rashford didn't even follow the shot up. So I'm not even saying that Rashford and Sancho have been fantastic for Man United, but we are a Rashford or Sancho injury away from having Elanga or Ahmad starting regularly for us. And Elanga and Ahmad, you've got to look at the fixtures we've got to play. We've got to play the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Europa League. Thursday, Sunday, we've got the World Cup. Elanga and Ahmad, if we don't sign another forward player, are going to play a lot of games if they both stay. Pelistri possibly as well. I think maybe a loan. I think all 3 maybe could do with a loan, but we're going to have to keep some of them for depth. So unfortunately, I'm not a great fan of Elanga. I think he does the basics well, but in terms of the real technical, his ceiling, I don't think it's that high. I think Ahmad's ceiling is high, but I don't think he's developed enough yet. And I think Pelistri is maybe in between Elanga and Ahmad in terms of natural talents, but again, needs more development. So we're a Rashford or a Sancho injury away from playing one of those players. So we definitely need a wide player. Anthony's obviously been the main target. What do you guys think about Anthony? Let me know in the comments. For me, I've always said with Anthony, from watching Anthony, I wasn't blown away by Anthony, but I do realise he brings a lot of intelligence. I think Ten Hag's worked with him before, and he has got some fluidity and some sort of breadth to his game, Anthony. For example, he can play, he can put early crosses in, he can take players on. He's not just that sort of explosive wide player. He's also quite sensible and quite mature in the way he plays. He can hold his position well. So I think that's why Ten Hag likes him. He's quite responsible, Anthony. So that's why I think Ten Hag likes him. And that's why I think he may, obviously we've been pushing for Anthony for quite a while. That's why he may push for Anthony. I've never been blown away when I've watched Anthony, but as I said before, I'm not that bothered about explosive players. I think you need players that you can trust. I think Ten Hag's brought in Malacia, who he's looked at and thought, well, I know this guy from the league. I've been managing and I can trust this guy. Eriksen, you can trust, good professional. Martinez, he's worked with before, he can trust. Frankie de Jong, he could trust if he comes. And the same with Anthony. These are players he can trust. So for me, I think that's why we're going after Anthony. We'll talk a little bit in a minute or so more about that after reading out this comment. Rashford and Martial are lucky to be here, if we're being honest. Yeah, I agree, actually. I was happy at the end of last season. To be honest with you, if you would have said to me, right, Charlie, we're going to sell every one of these players, I think maybe Sancho, I would have been a little bit disappointed. But I think every other player, I wouldn't have minded if you would have said at the end of last season, or even now, if you say, right, we're going to sell these, we're going to get rid of all these players. Obviously, you can't do it in one summer. But if you were to say to me, De Gea, Ronaldo, Maguire, Lindelof, Fred, McTominay, Martial, Rashford, Dallo, Wan-Bissaka, I wouldn't be bothered about losing a lot of these players. And this is what I tweeted last night. Ten Hag cannot rely on the core of this squad in the next 3 or 4 years, because they will get him sacked, like it got Oli sacked, Mourinho, even Van Gaal, some of the same players, So for me, I think that's why he's going after players he's worked with before with Ten Hag. He's received quite a lot of criticism, which I think is quite unfair, Ten Hag, about going after Ajax players. Man United, they're going after Ajax players. I think it's quite a sensible move. I understand the concerns about the Eredivisie and the players that have gone from the Eredivisie to the Premier League who have struggled. But I think we've got to trust the manager here. I think we've got to trust the manager. We've complained far too long before about managers not having enough say, or about Ed Woodward making the signings. Let's give Ten Hag, let's give him his 2 cents. Let's give him his thoughts about who he wants to bring in. And then hopefully in the next few years, we can develop that recruitment team a little bit more, and they can have more influence and everybody can work in tandem. You don't just want a manager signing the players, deciding who to sign, but you want the manager to have a bigger say than we have maybe in the past with other managers who maybe have had players forced upon them to sign. So I think that's the sensible way to go about it. In terms of wide players, if we don't sign Antony, other wide players I quite like. Obviously, Ousmane Dembele is a player that everybody likes, but I think he may be signing a new contract. I'm not quite sure, but injury concerns with him. Jared Bowen. I think Jared Bowen is a very good player. I'm not saying he's world class, but I think he's a very good player. But again, I think he would probably cost too much and West Ham wouldn't want to sell. You've got Moussa Diaby as well, I think, at Bayer Leverkusen. I think he's a very good player I like. And you've obviously got Antony as well. And you've got Elise at Palace. You've got Pedro Neto. I think he's a very good player as well at Wolves. But as I said, I'm going to do a video on sort of attacking players. I'm going to look a little bit more in depth, as I said on the last show, at those players. But for me, I think Antony looks the most likely there. What do you guys think about Antony? Obviously, because the dynamic would change with Sancho. So Sancho would probably move to the left and Antony would move to the right. Obviously, if Ten Hag thinks he'd be a starter, which I imagine he would. But what do you guys think about Antony? Let me know in the comments. As I said, for me, I think you've got to trust Ten Hag's judgment on this, really. As I've said, I don't really get this notion that we should criticise Ten Hag for going after players he trusts. I would do the exact same. You always see it. If you look at players gone by in the past, you look at Jose Mourinho at Roma. He's brought in Nemanja Matic. You look at Rafa Benitez. Everywhere he goes, normally brings in Solomon Rondon. It's just what you do. If you're a manager and you go to a new club, you want to bring in not too many. Of course, you don't want to bring in too many, but you might bring in 1 or 2 players you've worked with in the past because you know what they're about. It speeds up the adaptation phase to the new system, and it also, you bring in players you trust. For far too long at Manchester United, we've had players that play for us who the manager probably doesn't trust. Leopards don't change their spots, as Roy Keane said. Can you trust a lot of this Man United squad? Well, Ten Hag probably looks at it and he thinks, well, I'm going to look at what these lot produce for the previous managers. Do I really trust these lot? He probably thinks, well, I don't know whether I do really. I want to bring in some that I trust. So I think it's a good. I personally think for this first summer, I think it's important. I think it's important for Ten Hag to bring in 1 or 2 that he's worked with before. I agree, Felix. Just because he wants players he's worked with before doesn't mean we need to pay over the odds. Antony, for me, is no more than £50 million. No more than £50 million. Obviously, depends on how far the board want to back him on it. Marcus says, I rate Antony, but I'm starting to fear Ajax won't sell him because it's too late in the window and United won't pay the money Ajax wants. Certainly correct. And also, Marcus, because they know we demand Antony so much. That's the other problem. Ten Hag almost, I'm not saying it's an absolute necessity, but from the way we're looking at the transfer window right now, Manchester United really badly need a wide player. And Manchester United, if you look at the lack of links we've had to other wide players, Ajax are probably looking at this and thinking, well, we're going to overvalue our asset. We're going to try and protect our asset and, put the price higher. And, that's what they're going to do. And Manchester United are going to have to pay, at the end of the day, a little bit more than they probably want to. But as I said before, Marcus, I'm not complaining in terms of the players we're going after. What I'm a bit annoyed about is the speed at which we're going after things. I think we're waiting for Bailly, Williams, Telles, Tuanzebe, Jones. We're waiting for these players to sort of maybe move on. And I think that's why we're seeing a slow burner, as you might want to call it, in the transfer market. I think we need to start speeding up business a bit. And I think sorting the Ronaldo situation out within the next few days, personally, I want to know within the next few days, Ronaldo, are you going to stay and get to ground? Are you going to get working? Get to ground running. I want you to start working. Or are you going to go? We need to know. We need to know. So same with other players as well. But I think the likes of Telles, Williams, Tuanzebe, Jones, Bailly, I think those players all have a chance of going. But I don't think we'll see too much more happening in terms of transfers until we get offers in for those players. But unfortunately, that's the way that Man United work. You need some out the door before you allow some in the door. But we do need to speed it up. So we've talked about the striker. We talked about the wide situation. What do you guys think about the wide situation, by the way, in terms of our current options? Do you rate Rashford, Sancho, Amad, Elanga, Pelistri? In my opinion, I think Sancho's a very good player, and I think he will turn out to be a success. Rashford, I think he's a decent player. I think he's a level below Sancho in terms of his intelligence and his natural ability. I think Rashford can offer something to make a more balanced front three with Martial and Sancho. But I think Rashford does need to improve on certain aspects of his game, and I don't know whether it's too late for him to do that because he has played a lot of minutes. So he's had a lot of injuries. He's played under lots of managers. There's a bit of a work rate issue, a bit of an application issue, a bit of a distraction issue maybe from outside. So Rashford still, for me, I've got doubts. I think Amad, I think he could turn out to be a very, very good player, Amad. However, I think he's still very raw for me. I think Pelistri, as I said, I think he's a decent young prospect, but a long way to go. And Elanga, I think he does the basics well, but I just don't know whether he does enough more other than the basics to sort of start for Manchester United in the future. So that's my personal thoughts, but please let me know, guys, in the comments. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking at the likes. We've got 3 likes, guys. Come on, let's get that up. We've got 6 people watching right now. Let's try and get some more likes on the video, guys. Please smash a like on the video right now. Please get involved in the comments. Let me know about what you think about our current wide options. Rashford, Sancho, Elanga, Amad, Pelistri, etc. What do you guys think about these current options? And please do smash a like. We've only got 3 likes, but we've got 7 people watching. So please, guys, smash a like on the video. Okay, so we've done the forward areas. If we look in the midfield area, obviously Frenkie de Jong is the sort of saga of the summer. We seem to have one every summer. Sancho before, now we've got Frenkie de Jong saga. Personally, I'm a little bit fed up of the Frenkie de Jong saga. I think it's just Barcelona are really starting to annoy a lot of people, and rightly so, really, the way they're acting. But Frenkie de Jong, I still think it's a high chance that he'll come to us. I think we sort of need to get this deal done. We've spent that long on it. It's been our priority, big signing. But look, the way that we're going at the moment, we're still waiting for Barcelona's to sort of pay off Frenkie de Jong's wages. So I think he's owed 14 million or something, 14 to I think it might be 17 million, something around that figure for his wages he's still owed. So let's hope that gets resolved soon. We need Frenkie de Jong in this team. If you look at the role that I won't say too much about Fred because we're going to do player in focus this week on Fred. But if you look at the role Fred's been playing in pre-season, Frenkie de Jong will come in, I imagine, for Fred in terms of the role that he's been playing so far. Dropping deeper, picking the ball up off the defensive players and trying to progress the ball sort of to the second phase of build-up or the third phase of build-up into the more attacking areas. That's what Fred has been doing so far. He's done okay at it, but obviously Frankie de Jong will bring a whole other dimension to our midfield. Marcus, yeah, our wide options aren't great. I agree. I think they're quite poor, actually, Marcus, unfortunately, mate. But yeah, Frankie de Jong, very excited if he ever gets here to see him. I don't think he'll be ready to start the first game against Brighton. I hope he will come, because I don't think we've got too many other targets plugged away elsewhere. But yeah, for me, Frankie de Jong will go straight into that midfield. He'll play the deep line playmaker role, probably with McTominay next to him, or maybe Eriksen, possibly even Fred. But we'll see what Ten Hag does. He'll probably change it depending on the opponent. But Frankie de Jong will come in. Hopefully, he'll come to Manchester United, and I think he'll slot straight in there. And yeah, we need him. We need Frankie de Jong. Ideally, we need another midfield player. I wanted Tchouaméni and de Jong. I was prepared to spend a lot of the budget on those two at the start of the summer. I said get both of them, but obviously Tchouaméni went to Madrid, as was always sort of predicted. Marcus says, I think Fred and Bruno will get better under Erik ten Hag. Add Frankie de Jong and Eriksen to that mix, and suddenly we have a decent midfield. Yeah, for a Ten Hag system, we have a decent midfield, because Ten Hag values these profiles that are stronger, not stronger in terms of strength, in terms of physical strength, but intelligence on the ball, the on-the-ball attributes. That's what Frankie de Jong and Eriksen bring. In terms of the actual midfield balance as a whole, we still have a way to go. I think even if we sign those, if we sign Frankie de Jong and Eriksen, I think it's better for a Ten Hag midfield. But I think generally in terms of our whole balance, we still need, I think, a more physically imposing number 6, more of a Rodri, Fabinho type player. I think we might need a player like that in the coming windows still. And I still think we might need another box-to-box player as well. I'm not convinced by Fred and McTominay, as you probably all know, and as most of you are as well. You're probably not too keen on Fred and McTominay, because I don't think either of them are particularly any good. 9 people watching right now, guys. Please get involved in the comments. Please do smash a like on the video. We've talked about Ronaldo. What do you guys think about Ronaldo? Unprofessional, or do you like Ronaldo? Do you respect him, etc.? We talked about Anthony. What do you think about Anthony? We've said we don't want to overpay for Anthony. We're maybe a bit worried about that deal, but if Ten Hag wants him, I think we should go for him. We've also talked about Frankie de Jong. This saga needs to end soon. We need Frankie de Jong in this team. You know, if we were to get Malacia, Martinez, de Jong, Eriksen, a right back, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and a forward player, and maybe if Ronaldo goes, another forward player, I think that wouldn't be too bad at all. I think that wouldn't be too bad at all. And then in January, we'll probably hopefully add 1 or 2 names there. And then again next summer, add another 5 or 6 names. Let's hope, because we need numbers. We need numbers. So yeah, Frankie de Jong we need. Ideally we need another one. I like Benacer at AC Milan. I like Fabian Ruiz at Napoli. I like Ruben Neves. I always have done. I wanted Tchouaméni, but he went. A lot of the players I want are unavailable right now, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, Frankie de Jong is a must. I think all of us are a bit fed up with Frankie de Jong. But I think Frankie de Jong is an absolute must for Manchester United. In a moment, guys, by the way, after we talk about the right back, we're going to look at the squad. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to look through the squad members, have a discussion about our current squad members, including the new signings as well. We might do a possible lineup as well for the first few weeks of the season. So, right back situation. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, hopefully we can offload him. Diogo Dalot's obviously started well in pre-season. He's impressed quite a lot of people, including myself. I think he could be used by Erik ten Hag, which is going to be interesting. I did put a thread out in April saying I think Ten Hag will use Dalot. I think he's progressive stuff's good. I think he's got the fundamentals on the ball. He will need to improve off the ball, but I think Dalot's done very well in that inverted role so far. Wan-Bissaka, for me, isn't good enough. I don't think he's got the fundamentals on the ball to ever make it in this system. Could have been useful off the ball to stop counter-attacks, etc., but just the profile isn't quite right. And I think Ten Hag has sort of seen that as well. Right backs in the market, though. Right backs in the market, it's not looking that nice at the moment. Malo Gusto at Lyon, I think, is a very good player. Lamptey, obviously you've got the injury worries there with Lamptey. You've obviously got Frimpong, which a few people have mentioned in the past. You've got I quite like Livramento. I think he's a good player at Southampton, and also Kyle Walker-Peters has been mentioned. But for me, I think Malo Gusto would be a good signing. I think he would cost quite a bit though. Hakimi as well. I think people have mentioned, but that's just not realistic this summer. But I think there are quite a few. Right backs out there. I really do think we actually need a right back this summer. I see what Marcus is saying here about Wan-Bissaka, but the issue is we need fullbacks are so important in this system. Fullbacks are so important. We've got Shaw and Malacia at left back. For me, that I'm happy with that. I'm content with that. I wouldn't say I'm over the moon with it, but I'm content with that. You've got two fullbacks who are progressive. Shaw off the ball. I've said this many times. I say it every day, more or less on Twitter, especially when Shaw plays. I think Shaw's got weaknesses off the ball, but I think Shaw and Malacia on the ball are very well suited to Ten Hag's system. Tellez isn't for me. If you look at the right back, we've got Dalot, but Wan-Bissaka isn't. Fullbacks are so key. You've got the World Cup coming up. These fullbacks, if Dalot were to get injured, we would have to change the whole way. We'd have to change the inverted fullback thing. Would have to completely change. It would all have to change with Dalot's role as an inverted fullback. We'd have to completely change that because Wan-Bissaka cannot play that role. He just simply can't. The efficiency just won't be there. So we'd have to play maybe, a back three with Wan-Bissaka as sort of a right centre back. Wan-Bissaka off the ball would be okay in the inverted role, to stop counters, but on the ball, he just won't offer enough. So I see where you're coming from, Marcus, but I've actually looked at this situation the last few weeks and sort of thought to myself, we really need another right back this summer, and Ten Hag's targeting one. So if Wan-Bissaka does go, I think we'll see a new right back. Alien Tenor, big up Charlie. I hope you're doing well, mates. You're going to the Rayo game? No, mate. I was actually invited to that game as well by a mate, but I can't make it on Sunday, unfortunately. I will be watching on the TV, of course. I am planning to go to Brighton next weekend, though. So I am planning to go to the Brighton game, the first game of the season. It's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, I can't make Rayo. I would have gone. 100% I would have gone, but I can't make it, mate. But I hope you enjoy it. If you go, I'm sure you'll be there. Sell Aaron Wan-Bissaka and buy Dumfries. Yeah, Dumfries has been a one that's been sort of talked about. I think Inter are looking to sell. But yeah, Dumfries, I wouldn't be over the moon with that, but I wouldn't be completely disappointed. As I said before, I think Erik Ten Hag should have quite a bit of say on who he wants to sign. And I think Ten Hag's talent ID, his sort of talent profile, if you look who he signed for Ajax before, very often Erik Ten Hag has signed very, very good players. His signings have all, not always, obviously you get the odd one or two players, even Pep Guardiola. You look at the odd one or two players, you look at Benjamin Mendy. Don't talk about his personal situation, but Benjamin Mendy, he wasn't really the best signing in terms of the injuries he's had. And as he quite, really gelled in that City team, no, he hasn't. But, you look at Liverpool, you've got players like Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita, still sort of hasn't shone for Liverpool. So even these top managers get things wrong. So Man United fans need to stay calm when one or two signings will go wrong under Erik Ten Hag. Of course they will. You can't get every signing right, but we've just got to try and get more right than wrong. Under Ollie, I think there was more wrong than right, or maybe equal, but probably more wrong than right at the end of the day. So I just don't think, under Jose as well, I don't think the best signings were made at all since Sir Alex left. And even under Sir Alex, we made some shoddy signings. So it happens. But yeah, as long as Ten Hag wants Dumfries, we can go for Dumfries. I think some of his attributes fit the system for sure. I'm very concerned with Shaw's. Yeah, this is what we talked about, Eddie and Tenno, on the player in focus on Luke Shaw last time. On the ball, I think Shaw's very good. I know people say about his lack of assists over the years, but I'm not too bothered about stats, individual stats in terms of goals and assists. I think Shaw's pretty strong on the ball. I just think off the ball, lack of concentration, decision-making, proactiveness, don't think it's there. But guys, there's 10 people watching right now. Please do smash a like, guys. Please do get involved with the comments. We've had a lot of comments tonight so far. We've talked about Ronaldo. We've talked about Antony. We've talked about De Jong. We've talked about the right-back situation. Those are the positions I'd be looking at. A right back, Frankie de Jong, probably Antony if Ten Hag really wants him, and we need to replace Ronaldo if he leaves as well. They would be the 4 signings I would make this summer. We can also look in terms of the future as well. We've talked about it. I think we need goalkeepers urgently. I think we'll need a couple of centre-backs as well in the next few years. I think we'll need a few more midfield players and more forward players. So I think the whole squad, as we've talked about, this is not going to happen overnight. I think 6 signings this summer, 7 if Ronaldo leaves, in my opinion. That's what we need to look at. I know that's a big number. And a lot of people think that's unrealistic, but we've got to be ambitious. Marcus Shaw historically does well whenever there is competition. Exactly. That's what we need, Marcus, and that's why I think we need competition for Dalot as well on that right back spot as well. I think fullbacks are so important in the modern game. I think you look at the way that Liverpool have sort of recruited. They've got Kostas Tsimikas and they've got that Calvin Ramsey now, left back and right back for backup. You look at the way that the role of a fullback has changed over the last few the last couple of decades, really, and particularly in the last sort of decade or so. Fullbacks are absolutely vital to this modern game. Was it a mistake to let Hendo leave? I don't think it was, Alien Tenno, because I think he was already halfway out the door and he was a possible dressing room leak as well. We don't know that for sure, but there were some rumours about him being a possible dressing room leak. So I don't think that was a mistake. I just think, yes, I think he maybe could have suited the system better than David De Gea. But I'm not a great fan of Henderson anyway, personally. I'm not a great fan of Henderson. I think we need a new goalkeeper altogether. Personally, I've never been fully convinced by Henderson myself. But yeah, please, guys, get involved in the comments as always. I do enjoy the interaction. But now we're going to have a look at our current squad. So I'm going to get that up. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to have a look at the current Manchester United squad. We're going to have a look into this now. I think this is very, very important to sort of judge the squad, have a look where we are. Obviously, we've made our 3 signings so far, and I think we need a lot more. So here's our squad then. So you see it on screen here. Here is our squad for this season so far. So I'm just going to zoom in a little. So obviously we've got our goalkeepers here. I imagine one of these goalkeepers may end up leaving on loan or something like that. Maybe I'm not too sure whether any of them have actually already. But obviously we've got De Gea is going to be the first choice goalkeeper. We've got Heaton, who I think is a reliable second choice. And then you obviously got Bishop and Kovar. We haven't seen enough of those two, Bishop and Kovar, to really make too much of a judgment. But we've got De Gea and Heaton. I just don't know. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, I don't think either of them will be, maybe won't be at the club anyway. So there are goalkeeping options. For me, I do think we need to invest in that goalkeeping area in the next few years, for sure. Centre-back options doesn't really bring you with much confidence, does it? Lindelof, obviously likely to stay. Maguire will stay. Varane will stay. And we've also got down here Lisandro Martinez as well. So he was obviously the new signing as well. So we've got 4 centre-backs, I think, that will stay. I think Eric Bailly is a very, very possible one to leave the club. He wants more first-team action, but for me, he's just not reliable enough. I'm not that keen on our centre-back options as a whole anyway. But I just think if you've got a player that's just not reliable, I don't think they're worth having around. So Bailly for me, we've already got 4 centre-backs that are going to play quite, we've already got 4 centre-backs who will want to be sort of first-team players. So Bailly as well, that would make it 5. You obviously got Jones as well, 6. We've got too many centre-backs that aren't regulars for me. So what do you guys think about Eric Bailly? What do you guys think? Maguire will be exposed. Yeah, Maguire will struggle with the counter-attack. So will Lindelof. Maguire and Lindelof will both struggle. I don't think either of them are particularly fantastic off the ball at Alien Tenno. They both will struggle. It's, pace always, but pace as well, but I think intelligence. I think Maguire and Lindelof lapses in concentration. Lindelof not proactive enough. Maguire maybe too proactive, goes in too many times when he maybe should drop back slightly. So I think it's just about intelligence as well as pace. even Varane as well, Alien Tenno, he's not been reliable for us, to be honest. So I don't really rate any of our options from what they've shown us in the last few years. I think Martinez is a very good signing, but I think the current options that we've got that we've had for a long, long time, I don't think we can shout about these players all that much, to be honest with you. I disagree with most people. I think Maguire will improve. I would pick Varane to play next to Martinez, but he can't stay fit. Yeah, I think Maguire. We've already seen Maguire on the ball would be good in Ten Hag's system. Maguire will be important for the cross-field switches, but he needs to speed them up. Maguire, he's far too slow when he plays those passes. He needs to speed them up. Will he improve? I hope he does. As I say, I want everybody to improve, but we've got to be realistic. We've got to be realistic where these players are right now. We do need a lot of investment in these next few years. Even if these players improve, can we trust them over a long spell? Doubtful. Bayer just needs to leave. Yeah, I think we'll buy Timber in January. I'm not sure. I think Timber's going to sign a new contract, so I think Timber's going to stay put with Ajax for quite a bit now. I intend to be honest with you. Okay, we've also got Tuanzebe as well in the defensive department. So we've got Tuanzebe also needs to go, in my opinion. Left back, then we've got Shaw, we've got I don't know why it's in this strange order, but we've got Shaw, we've got Telles, we've got Malacia. I think Telles will possibly go. I think he should go. I think Malacia and Shaw for now should stay. Obviously, Malacia has only just come, but I think Shaw has got a lot to prove as well in the next months and year or so to make sure he stays as well. We've got Williams as well, obviously, who can play left back. But for me, Williams, I don't really get what people see in Williams. I just think he runs around, tries to kick people, runs around a bit. I don't think he really brings a lot of technical ability to this team. Right back, we've obviously got Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. I've said before, I know Mark has said there's other things to do, other areas to. Sorry, I'm getting tired. Other areas to improve on other than Wan-Bissaka, sort of other players to sell. But for me, I think we just need to get rid of him. I don't think he's good enough. I think we need to sign a new right back. Yeah, Brighton want Brandon Williams. I would snap your hand off for 15 million. I don't think he's worth that at all, but I will take that every day of the week. What do you think went wrong with Telles? Telles doesn't suit. Telles is a left wing back to start with, his best role. He doesn't suit a back four, in my opinion. He doesn't suit Ten Hag's system. I just don't think he's a particularly fantastic player. I think only in certain systems Telles works. I think he needs to be. I think he needs to be surrounded by a lot of. I think he needs to be surrounded by a lot of movement in behind. I think he needs to be. I think he needs sort of target men strikers as well up top that he can deliver early crosses to. I think he needs lots of movement around him. He needs a lot Telles to make him work. He just isn't. When he's on the ball, Telles, he's very limited. He can't offer you as much as Shaw can in possession. He can't get out of a tight space. He can't. All he's got is in his locker is that early cross. He doesn't have enough for me, Telles, on the board. So yeah, I think quite a few things, Marcus. I think the league, the system, the squad that we've got, I just don't think he suits it. I don't think he's an awful player in terms of. I think he could improve in another system, but I just don't think it suits him here at all. Dalot, obviously impressed. Wan-Bissaka, I think, should go. Okay. Laird, Mengi, Fish, not good enough yet to play in the first team, in my opinion. I think Laird needs more development. I think Mengi, Fish, yeah, I think they all need to develop more. So that's the defensive area. So if you look at that whole defensive area, the goalkeepers as well, I think I'd certainly say in 3 years' time, how many of these players will be here? I wouldn't say more than. I don't think more than half a dozen. I don't think more than 6 of those players will still be here, to be honest with you. I think De Gea and Heaton will probably be off in 3 years. By 3 years, I think a lot of the centre backs will be. I think that some of the full backs will be as well. So I think it's just about this process. We need to get. I've always said this, and it makes sort of total sense. Let the players leave, or try and sell the players that don't sort of suit or fit Erik ten Hag's profiles. And try and keep the ones that are better fitted, even if they've not been in the best form, or even if people Don't really like certain players. If they sort of suit Ten Hag better, the profile fits, we've obviously got to keep them. It just makes sense, really. I'm dreading October. Yeah, I'm dreading the World Cup and everything heading into now. I think there could be a few shocks. I think some teams that we expect to finish lower in the league will actually end up finishing higher because they'll have less players going off to the World Cup and they'll be more refreshed, more time to work on sort of tactics and side of things over Christmas. So I think we could be in a bit of trouble if we don't invest a lot more. Our current defense is a Titanic. It really is. If you look, like if I scroll through here and look at these, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that all these players are fantastic players. I think there's some decent players in here, but I think even the likes of Varane, who's obviously been world class with Real Madrid, he doesn't look quite the same. He's had a lot of injuries. I think Malacia is a good signing, but still, it's not enough. I think we need a lot more. Martinez is a good signing, but we do need more. Okay, let's move on to midfield then. So you've got the old McFred. They've been separated though here by Bruno. You might be glad to see they're not together as they normally are. McFred. We've obviously got Fred and McTominay, both number 8s for me. Both been played, sort of had to be shoehorned in a team under Ollie, and still with sort of Ten Hag now. We've got sort of Fred playing in a number 6 role. As I said, I think Frenkie de Jong will take that role over if he comes. So we've got Fred and McTominay for me. Will they ever be good enough to start in a title-winning team? Doubtful. Are they squad players? Yes, for me. I think they're more squad players. He will probably have to use them both quite a lot this season because of the nature of sort of, bringing in Eriksen, bringing in maybe Frenkie de Jong. Hopefully we'll bring him in. But we still will have to play McTominay sort of and Fred quite a lot, especially with the dynamic of the World Cup. We will have to play both of them quite a lot. Bruno Fernandes divides opinion for me. I think he's a decent player, but he needs to refine his game under Erik ten Hag, which I think he can do, but he needs to be more disciplined. Hannibal Mejbri, I think he's too raw. I think he needs a loan, personally. What do you guys think about Mejbri? I just think he might need a loan. I think he's still a little bit raw. I think he could do with a little bit more development. Charlie Savage and Zidane Iqbal both played well in pre-season, but again, they need more development. Garnacho, we haven't seen much of. Some people sort of hypothesizing that Garnacho might have been the player that was late for training or something, and that's why he hasn't played. Because obviously we've seen a report come out that Ten Hag was going to play a player on 1 or 2 occasions, I think, and they were late for training or something like that. So some people have said with their hypothesis is Garnacho was the player that was late, but we don't know. But Garnacho again needs development. And when I say needs development, they're not ready to play in the first team. That's what I mean. We've obviously got Garner as well. Garner's down there. Yeah, we've got Pellistri, again, needs a loan. Donny van der Beek, I think he'll show to be a good player for Manchester United. I just think people need to be more patient and understand the need for a squad. Needs to get used to playing with players regularly. I think that's what he needs. James Garner, I think he needs another loan. Tahith Chong, I think he should be sold. Eriksen, obviously the new signing. Ronaldo, let him go if he wants. Try and find a deal for him. Rashford needs to start performing. Sancho needs to start performing. Elanga needs a lot of technical development. Diallo is very raw, needs development. Martial needs to really knuckle down and start making sure he stays fit. Martial, I think he's a good player, but he needs to make sure he stays fit and apply himself very well. That's my view, guys. What do you guys think? Anything you disagree with? Let me know. Anything you disagree with, let me know. I would be interested to know. And please do smash a like, guys. Let's try and get the likes up to 20 likes as always. That's always the aim on this show. Try and get 20 likes on this channel. And please get involved in the comments as well. We're going to go through some comments now. Jones and Twansabi still on living. Yes, they are. Newcastle quite about McTominay and we rebuff them. Yeah. Look, McTominay for me, I think he could be useful at times with, the physicality he brings, and, he brings a bit of steel to midfield, but just not technical enough for me. Red Dead United TV. Charlie, what are your thoughts on the Mason problem? I don't really want to speak too much on this, but I'll just say I don't really want. I'm not really comfortable with talking too much about it anyway. But I'm not really comfortable with him coming back and playing. To be honest with you, I'm not really all that comfortable. Red Dead United TV. I wouldn't be comfortable going into the stadium and cheering for that player or that person after what he did. I agree, though, Medjugorje, and he needs to go on a loan, ideally, and play under a manager that's quite disciplined. I think Medjugorje needs a disciplined manager, maybe more of an old school type manager to try and knuckle that man down a bit. I think that's what he needs because he's a little bit wild. It's all good, being, aggressive and, showing your desire on the pitch, but I think he goes over the top a little bit. Certainly is. Yeah, I'm not going to speak too much on that, but yeah, I'm not too comfortable on that situation. I'm not too happy, obviously, with sort of him coming back personally. Bailly deserves to play more. Jose says, I'll be gutted if we let him go to Roma. Yeah, I think Bailly I've always said, I don't think he's an awful defender. I just don't think he stays fit enough. I don't think you can rely on Bailly. Erik ten Hag wants players in his team he can rely on. He's brought in players already he thinks he can rely on. He wants players he can rely on. He probably doesn't think he can rely on Bailly for a full season. And that's why, we're probably going to let him go, to be honest with you. Early and Tenor, we're in a very precarious situation. Yeah, look, the way we are at the moment with this squad, I don't think any of us can expect Manchester United to finish any higher than, any higher than fifth, really, or any higher than fourth. I mean, if we were to finish in the top four, try and go far in the cups, maybe try and even win a cup, I think that would be very good. The way our squad is at the moment, I just don't think we can finish in the top four. I'm not, as I said before, I'm not a person that celebrates top four, but I just don't think with the way our squad is at the moment, I don't see us challenging for that, sort of getting to that fourth spot. I think we need at least 3 more players. I think Spurs are strong. I think Liverpool are strong. I think City are strong. I think Chelsea could be in a bit of trouble with looking at their squad at the moment. I think Chelsea also need a lot of development, a lot of additions to their squad. No, I'm not just saying this because they lost 4-0 to Arsenal, but I'm just saying I think Chelsea lack quite a lot of players at the moment. Lack quite a lot of quality, and they've been rejected by a lot of players as well. Arsenal, I think, will push for fourth as well. So I think we will struggle with our current squad. Ellington, I agree, for fourth. But yeah, I think there's a long way to go in the transfer market yet. So let's be patient. No, he doesn't. Red Dead United TV. Telles does not suit Ten Hag's system. He doesn't suit Manchester United with the players we've got. Telles is just he's not going to get a game, in my opinion. When it comes to, I think he may end up getting sold. Hopefully this summer. Shaw and Malacia are enough for our left backs, in my opinion. Yeah, give him a statue. Yeah. Look, I would love to win that Europa League. If you see there, that's actually when we last won a trophy. Well, obviously we won the old the Bangkok Cup, didn't we, in pre-season? But I mean the proper trophy. That's the last trophy we won. Jose Mourinho, 2017, Mkhitaryan, Pogba and Mkhitaryan goals. Obviously that night was brilliant. I absolutely love that night. I love to win trophies. I think winning trophies is what football's all about. And that's why I say I'd rather finish outside the top 4 and win the Europa League than finish 4th and win nothing. So yeah, obviously we want to finish 4th and win the Europa League as well, but it's looking a bit precarious at the moment. The Europa League's always got good teams in. We've seen, big teams struggle. You look at Barcelona getting knocked out to Frankfurt this season in the Europa League. So the Europa League is a good competition. It really is. So we'll have to add, as I said, another 3, possibly 4 if Ronaldo leaves, another 4 players to our squad, really to really sort of challenge for these the top 4 on trophies. We do need Champions League football next season. What year did you start supporting United? Although I look quite young, I am 20 years old. Started, the earliest memory that I've got when I can actually sort of talk about the season was 29 to 2010 season. But I was supporting United from around 2008 onwards. But obviously, I can't remember too much about the earlier years. But I can remember the 2010 season where Chelsea won the title on the last day. I think they beat somebody 8-0 on the last day, and we beat Stoke, I think, but it wasn't enough. We needed Chelsea to drop points, and they won the title. So that's my first sort of memory. LVG's first year. LVG was I think he had the right ideas, but I just don't think it quite worked out for the lad. And obviously, I think he is a top manager, but just not at the right time. It didn't quite work out. So that's it so far, guys. We're probably going to wrap up in a few minutes. Please do leave a like, guys. Please do subscribe if you're new as well. We've obviously talked about the squad. Today was just sort of a roundup show about what's going on. I know there wasn't too much new content today. We've got the Fred Player in Focus episode coming next. So the next Player in Focus episode, so the next episode in the Player in Focus series will be Fred. I think this one, people are quite excited about this one. I'm hoping to stream that within the next few days. It's normally a Wednesday night. I do the Player in Focus. I aim for sort of a Wednesday, but I'll let you know. I'll let you guys know on Twitter. Please do follow me on Twitter. The link's in the description if you're not already, because I sort of post updates on there. But Fred is going to be the next sort of Player in Focus. So we'll talk more about Fred in particular, about the midfield. LVG. I think it had to happen. But it was very unfortunate. I think the day after the FA Cup win, wasn't it? I could claim the 2008 CO win when I was a baby. Yeah. That's sort of what I was like when I was only 6. You see, in the 2008. So I couldn't quite remember all that much, and that's why I said my earliest memory really was 2010. Should have backed him. Yeah, LVG. He wanted Mane. I think he wanted Sadio Mane. He wanted another few other really good players that other teams got that turned out to be really, really good in the Premier League. So he had the right ideas, but just didn't quite execute it for one reason or another. Here's the paradox with this squad and a few more players and gets top 4. Will the Glazers think that he doesn't need any more players? I hope not. Ellie and Tenno. We need a lot more players. The Glazers tend to spend around 100 million net every summer, don't they? And I think they will still spend, but they might only sign 3 players next summer. But I think we need 5 players every summer for 4 years, really, to really see this team develop. I think we need people underestimate January. Of course, you can't do too many deals, but you want at least you want to aim to try and get sort of a player in at January, maybe another loan deal as well. Try and get some things done in January as well. I know it's more difficult, but you can get deals done. You look at what Conte did with the Kulusevski and Bentancur in January. He got those deals done. Yep, Jose versus Pep, 2 of the best to ever manage. For me, Jose Mourinho is ahead of Pep, though, in terms of sort of the status, in terms of what he did with sort of Porto and Inter. I think Jose Mourinho is ahead of Pep for me. I think Pep's a fantastic manager, though. I do think so, but I think Jose Mourinho for me, I just think I like him a lot. I think he's a legend of the game. Any other comments, guys? Get them in. We'll go for a couple more minutes and then we'll call it a night, I think. Please do like the video, guys. We're always aiming for that 20 likes. I know there hasn't been too much new content, as I said today. We just had a general discussion, but I think it's good to get everybody involved. That's why I always try and do these shows. We're going to do Player in Focus on Fred. We're going to do a seasons prediction show as well. So soon we're going to do a seasons prediction show. I'm going to get the table up, 20 teams in the league. Where do I think everyone's going to finish? I'm going to do that sort of maybe next weekend, just before the season starts. I'm going to see if any other transfers materialise, because obviously you can't predict where Man United are going to finish exactly at the moment. You can say top 4 is going to be tough, etc., but we've got a lot more sort of deals that might happen yet as well with other clubs. So we're going to do that. I might do a transfer window ratings as well. So I might do a transfer window ratings as well. Sort of rate every team in the league, sort of bring other teams in. Would you guys like that? Let me know. Do you guys want just Man United, or do you want other clubs as well? I'm going to try and get other fans from other clubs on. I'm going to get Man United fans on. We're going to be trying to expand the channel as much as we can. Obviously, I'm very busy with other stuff as well, but I will always try and do as many shows a week as I can. Try and get collaborations with other people, get other people involved in the channel, so you don't just have to listen to my boring voice every single time. But Red Dead United TV, what's your FPL team? I haven't set one up yet, mate. Haven't set one up yet. I always do it sort of as late as possible because I want to look at all the transfers coming in first, and then I will decide my team. I will set up a league on Twitter, so make sure you check that out. I will. You can all join my league, and we'll have a league going, and we'll. I might even put some prizes on or whatever. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. In January window, teams that drop out of UCL. Yeah, good point. Good point, that Alien Tenno. And you can do some deals in January. You can't do massive deals, but you can do some loan deals. As I said, Kulusevski and Bentancur, contacted with them in January. You can do deals if you really want. So I think we can do deals. I just don't think you can do huge deals, but you can do loans. You can do small fee deals, smaller fee deals. I think you can do some transfer business sort of in January. I think it's important to use the January window as much as you can to make the most of that. Add another player or two to your portfolio, to your assets. So we need some more assets in this team. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for today. I'm sorry again about this, the lighting, the 2 strips of lighting, and that's why I'm sort of on this side of the screen. But we'll sort that out. We'll sort that out in future. Just having a few issues with that right now. I have to make do while I'm here. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I am sorry I've been a bit slow and sounded a bit tired in this show. I am absolutely knackered, so I'm going to get some rest now. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. I've lost my voice a bit. But thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Please smash a like, guys. Let's try and get to 20 likes. Please get involved in the comments as well if you're watching later on. And I hope you all have a great evening, guys. Thanks a lot for the support. Bye, guys.